Let's try the second problem, problem B now. We've got to put our coefficients back in because I erased everything. Okay, this says with 400 grams of copper 2 sulfate, once again, 400 grams of this. How many grams of hydrogen cyanide would you need to react with your copper 2 sulfate? Hydrogen cyanide is going to be this chemical right here. So this is saying these are your reactants, right? This is the reactant side of the arrow. To make an ideal reaction where these two perfectly react together and nothing is left over where you had too much of this or you had too much of this, for these to perfectly react in the proper ratio to produce your products, how much hydrogen cyanide do you need to match with 400 grams of copper 2 sulfate? Okay, just like before, I'm going to start on the left a little bit more so I have some more room this time. You write what you're given. 400 grams of copper 2 sulfate. Put it over 1. Build your fraction. Here, just like before, whatever's on top here, we put on the bottom of the next fraction. So we've got grams of copper 2 sulfate. Now, where are you going to go from grams of copper 2 sulfate? You're going to go to moles of copper 2 sulfate. And how did you know that you were going to go there? Well, that's really the only place that you can go. If you look at your mole map, you've got grams. What was it? I know moles were in the middle. Let's see. I think volume was on top. Grams, I think, was off here to the left. So the only place to go is from grams here into your central station of moles. And then from moles here, you can go to moles of a different unit, right? And then you can go from moles of that unit to grams of that unit, and you will have gotten all the way around where you want to go. There's no bridge that'll take you directly from grams to grams of a different unit. You have to go to moles, then moles of that unit, and then moles to grams. So that's tying this into the mole map of where you can go from what units. Okay, so we've got our units set up. Now we've got to make, put a 1 here, and then remember how many grams per mole is copper 2 sulfate. So in the previous video we found that the molar mass of copper sulfate was 159.6, so I'll just put that right there again. If you want to see how we got it, you can watch the previous video if you haven't already. Alright, so where are we at now? We have grams of copper sulfate to grams. Now we've got moles. And again, it's easy to look at this blank fraction and be lost and like, what do I do here? I'm so lost. But don't do that. Let the units guide you. They flow through the whole problem. Okay, so if you got moles of copper sulfate here, you put moles of copper sulfate here. And now you at least have a starting place to get you started about thinking, okay, now what do I put up here? Well, where can you go? Remember the mole map? You go moles of your starting unit to moles of your target unit, or your desired unit, which in this case is, what did it say, hydrogen cyanide. So moles of hydrogen cyanide. Okay. Now let's put the units in. Here's the only time where moles are not, you just put ones. You have to look at the molar ratio here. So you have 2 moles of hydrogen cyanide for every 1 mole of copper 2 sulfate. So 1 goes there. Alright, that step's pretty quick and easy, right? Next fraction. Remember, whatever's on top here goes down here. You don't even have to think about it. Now you start thinking, okay, well, where do I want to go from this unit here? Well, just like on your mole map, from moles of your desired unit, you can go to grams of your desired unit. And that's what we want, right? We want the grams of hydrogen cyanide. So grams of hydrogen cyanide. Now the 1 goes with the moles, and we have to figure out how many grams are in 1 mole of hydrogen cyanide. So hydrogen cyanide is composed of hydrogen, carbon, and nitrogen. Hydrogen, if you look at the periodic table, is 1.008. So hydrogen is 1.008. Carbon, 12.011. 12.011. Nitrogen, 14.007. 14.007. And there's only one of each of these in our compound. So we just add them all up. Let's do it. 1.008 plus 12.011 plus 14.007 equals 27.026. I'm going to round that to 27.03. 27.03 grams per mole of hydrogen cyanide. Okay, now we take a step back and say, did we get where we want to go? Oh, I underlined it up here. Actually, let's underline it down here. We're wanting to go to grams of hydrogen cyanide. Is that where we have now ended up? Yes, yes it is. So, it's time to mathematically simplify and get our answer. So on top, we have 400 times 1 times 2 times 27.03. So, top of our fraction, 400 times 2 times 27.03. On the bottom, we have 1 times this number here times 1 times 1, which is just that number, 159.6. Okay, when we put that all into the calculator, what do we get? Let's find out. 400 times 2 times 27.03 equals quite a large number. Divide it by the bottom number, 59.6, and we get 135.488, which I will round to the hundredth, which is going to be 135.49. So 135.49. Was it 135? It was 149. All right, now what's our unit? Grams of hydrogen cyanide. Very nice. Very nice indeed. So there is your answer.